I'm Brian Palomino, so I'm VP Finance and Fitness, and this is my cousin Ricardo Bautista. So we're gonna get more into who he is, why he started working out, and just like get more into his set and who he is. So you can introduce yourself, to everybody.
Hello guys, my name is Ricardo Bautista. I don't have a YouTube channel yet. I might be thinking to doing that in the near future. So if you guys think that's a good idea, if you guys like what I have to say, if you like, some of the advice and ideas that I have, give a thumbs up and write in the comments that you guys want to see a little bit more of me, and maybe I'll make a few more appearances on Brian's show, and or start creating some content of my own.
All right. So the first thing I wanted to ask you was like, why? When I know when you started working out, what age did you start working out? Around?
Man, I started working out with Brian, with your brothers. That's when I first started working out. Actually, no, it started way before that, actually. Because your brothers started, they were going hardcore back in 2012, 2013. But I wasn't old enough to go to the gym. And actually, it was Edgar, my brother Edgar, my middle brother, that got me into working out. Because he joined wrestling back in Bernodes. He, when we lived in Crystal Lake.
What grade was he in when he did it?
He was in 8th grade. He was in 8th grade, and he started wrestling. And all he would do was bicep curls and pull-ups. Bicep curls and pull-ups. And so he had really nice back, really nice biceps, his arms looked shredded, and he was already skinny, so he got defined immediately.
Yeah.
And he was pretty good at wrestling too. All he would do was throws, just head throws. That was his thing, headlock to a head throw. He wrestled JB, but he did really, really well for a first year,
Yeah.
Anyways, he wanted to get better, and so he would practice with me. We had a mattress on the floor, and we would wrestle on this.
How old were you around this time?
I was in 5th grade, so I was 10, 11 years old. 10, 11 years old, and so we would wrestle, whatever, and I was way too weak. I was just getting thrown, I was getting dominated, and so I was like, you know what, I have to get stronger. I'll get my ass handed to me by Edgar.
Yeah.
So I started working out, started doing push-ups, started by doing sets of 5, then sets of 10. Then I was like, you know what, I want to build some biceps, and so I needed to curl, so I was like, how am I going to curl?
Yeah.
So I started curling with the 25-pound dumbbells, but I couldn't curl it with one hand, so I gripped it like this, and this is how I would hit my curls. So I would hit my sets of
So it was a plate, or was it a dumbbell you were using?
It was a 25-pound dumbbell that I had in the closet.
Yeah.
Just 25-pound metal dumbbell, and I would curl it like this. And I remember I would go to school and the kids would be like, damn, you're yoked, because I had a little bump here, and I had a vein popping out.
Your first muscles coming out.
Yeah, my first muscles were my biceps and my arms. So everyone was like nobody, obviously in 5th grade nobody works out,
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And I'm out
You're
here
playing video games.
I'm out here doing curls, and I'm wrestling my brother, So I'm out here getting really, really muscular.
How much older was Edgar than you?
So he was in 8th grade while I was in 5th grade, but he was always a grade behind, so he was supposed to be a freshman, so he was 15. Yeah, he was 15.
You were 11?
And I was 10, 11.
That's a good jump, because I know it's only 5 years, but they're hitting puberty.
Yeah, I was nowhere near puberty, so I was weak. But it was awesome, because that's my first experience I ever got with fitness. And I remember that back then, Gil was really into lifting, so it was awesome watching him lift heavy weights. I think he was deadlifting 315. And
I remember we used to stay over at his house a lot.
He had a nice gym set up, so I was like, man, this is awesome, But my mom wouldn't let me.
I remember that. You should. I know. I'm cutting you off. You should tell the story when Gil made you pull the.
Oh my God.
Was it a big ass? What tire was it?
It was a tractor tire. So fast forward a few months after I started working, I was 10 or 11. I started training with Gil one summer, so I stayed at Gil's house all summer long. He was in football camp or whatever, and so Gil was training. He was lifting heavy. He was training in football.
He was a big dude, right?
How
heavy was he around the time?
Oh, man, he was.
Was he a freshman?
Yeah, he was great. So he was a freshman in football camp, and so he was completely into football, very dedicated.
I remember that, yeah.
So I was like, you know what, Gil, train me. He was, all right, I'll train you. And so he'd make me bench press the bar. I started lifting with Gil, and so he would get creative as well, because he would hit certain workouts at football camp that he wanted me to try, which are good workouts for sure, pulling a tractor tire, shit like that, flipping tires and stuff like that.
At 11, 12 years old.
10, 11 years old.
That's crazy.
So I started pulling a tractor tire. It was a small tractor tire, nonetheless it was a tractor tire. And so I was outside in the backyard of my aunt's house, Gil was yelling at me, pull, pull. And so I'm out here trying to pull this tractor tire, which I don't even know how much it weighed, but it was a tractor tire, so it was pretty big. And I was pulling it, and my mom and my aunt were in the kitchen, and they looked out the window. You know how like the window literally
you can see everything
in the backyard. You can see the whole backyard. And so like they're looking at me, 10-year-old Ricky, fragile, skinny Ricky, pulling and flipping a tractor tire. So they freaked out. You know how dramatic my mom is.
Yeah, I know.
She freaked out and they ran outside. They're like, no, no. What are you doing, Gil? Are you sick? Are you sick in the head? I was like, what? I was like, I'm fine. You know, this is fun. I'm training. You know, this is cool. You know, I'm okay. He's like, he can get hurt. He's just a boy. Like all this stuff, and then I was like, oh my god. So Gil got in a lot of trouble. My mom yelled at me. She's like, you shouldn't be doing that. It's not good for you. And I believe my mom. So I stopped hitting those workouts for a while. Which I wish I would have continued to do. I mean, it wouldn't have done me any harm. Yeah, I could have gotten hurt, but you can always get hurt, you know, there's always that possibility. But yeah, that's, you know, that was one of my early workouts. Anyways, I continued to work out, continue to hit push-ups, continue to hit dumbbell curls with 25-pound dumbbells. And after I dominated that, then I really started, you know, to hit a few with 25-pound dumbbells.
And this weight, I know, these weights, like the dumbbells, were they Edgar's or were they?
They were Edgar's dumbbells. Yeah, they were Edgar's dumbbells. And then around this time, 2012, I was entering 6th grade. Your brother, both of your brothers, Ivan and Eric, really got into lifting. Yeah. Edgar was still going pretty hard, hitting pull-ups and push-ups and curls. That's all he would do. Pull-ups, push-ups, curls, and crunches. So I followed his lead. That's all I would do. And so I got to the point where I just dominated my body weight. Do
you have any pictures of you when you were around that age?
Yeah, I do, and we can absolutely post them.
You can send me them, and I'll be posting them somewhere on the screen.
Yeah, man. And so I got to the point where I was like 105 pounds, shredded. 105, just lean tissue, and I was able to like just do like 50 push-ups. I remember back in like 8th grade at the end of the school year. I'm sorry, no. 6th grade, in the beginning of the school year, I was hitting like 50, 60 push-ups in one set. So then that was the push-ups that I was hitting, right? And so I got to the point where I was dominating my weight. Your brother Ivan and Eric started sending me videos of Z's. So I started getting Z's motivational videos, dude, and that changed my life forever, man.
So how did you and I know that you and Ivan used to work out a lot.
Wes, come here, baby.
I know that you and Ivan started working out
together.
Can
you sit right here?
How did that happen? How did that started? Come here. No. Like I know you were obviously there was a point in time where you used to like visit our house, like you stayed there for like almost.
Right. So how that started actually? So Ivan and Eric they got a membership at this one gym. I don't think it's there anymore, but it's on
Charter.
No.
It was on Route 31. It was on the left side going towards like Woodstock. Not 31, no, 14. On the left side going towards.
Oh, I know. I think I know what you're talking about. It's Pet Supplies Plus is right
there, right in that area.
We used to drop them off.
What gym was it? I don't know. I
don't remember the name of it, but I remember. I know because I used to go with my mom. And around this time, I was a really skinny dude. All I used to do was like play video games, eat Takis. And
you never wanted to work out.
I never wanted to work out. I remember I never wanted to work out. But like, yeah, I remember what gym you were talking about. So that's the first gym you went with Ivan, or?
That is the first ever gym I ever went to. It was crazy to me. I was like, whoa, this is like, there's just so many things here. I've only done push-ups, pull-ups, and curls. And so I was like, man, this is crazy, right? So I got there, and I remember the first workout that we hit. Eric took me there, and he drove his gray manual Honda.
You still had that car?
Yeah.
So were we living in the basement? I think.
I don't recall exactly where you guys were.
Because I think that's when they were starting to work out. They got a bench press. They were working out.
I believe so. So they picked me up and we went to that gym, and I got to that gym, and I remember the first workout we hit was a shoulder workout, and shoulder and triceps. So we started off with like dips, and we were doing dumbbell shoulder presses, and I remember I was doing like 35s, and Ivan and
Eric,
at 11, 12, yeah. And Ivan and Eric were like completely impressive, like no way, man, like you're strong. Cause they were hitting like 45s, 50s, you know?
Yeah, because you're 11 years old doing 35 pounds, like.
Yeah, and I was just hitting a bunch of dips, and so like I just fell in love with the gym at that point. And then Eric was looking really, really good. I think he was like 145, completely shredded. Like his abs were just nuts, man.
I actually have a picture of him when I think you've seen it. I have a picture of him holding my head like this, and I'm like tiny, my little hair.
Dude gives me Greg Plitt vibes. Like back in that day, back in those days.
They were obsessed with him. They were obsessed with him.
Greg Plitt, man, awesome dude. R.I.P. Rest in peace, man. But yeah, that guy was one of those. So like one of my inspirations as well, man. These guys these YouTube guys, like at the end of the day, they played such a huge role in how I got motivated and how I perceived the whole muscle industry, the whole fitness industry. And Greg Plitt, Sis, like those two guys are like
huge influencers for you.
Huge influencers, man. They're dead now, but yeah, these guys are nuts. But yeah, so after that, what was it, 2012?
Was this your 6th grade year? You were in 6th grade, right?
That was like 5th going into 6th. And then once I was in 6th grade, we moved into garden quarters, the really ratchet apartments that I used to live in. Do you remember?
I think they're by there's a gas station
hardware.
Yeah.
By the high school or whatever.
Oh yeah, but your high school.
Yeah, so we moved there, and I got my first bench. I got my first ever bench. It was $70. I got it raking leaves. So that whole fall, I raked leaves. And I made $70, and I got my very first bench. And then I started doing dumbbell presses, incline, shoulders, and I dominated the 25-pound dumbbells in every single possible scenario. I started doing decline sit-ups. And then I started really, really focusing on my pull-ups, and that's when I really, really started seeing some really good gains. And I went from like 105 to 119, and then I started posting my progress.
Were you working out still with Edgar around this time, or were you just doing your own?
I started doing my own thing.
And then you got this from like YouTube, you said, or just
so my workouts were I was just working with what I had. I wasn't allowed to go to the gym. You can't get a gym. Well, back then you really couldn't get a gym membership.
You still can't until you're 18, or if you're under 18, you have to have a
guardian, right? And it was expensive. I didn't have the money to do that. So the best way to do it is to buy my own equipment, right? So I had 25-pound dumbbells. I had a bench, and then I bought an easy bar curl, and I got a few weights after shoveling snow. So that whole winter, I stayed inside and I just started grinding. I started lifting. Man, where I got my information from there, I think it was really just Ivan telling me kind of like what to do. Yeah, just like, I was just really lifting. And I don't even think I was just like really trying to hit a certain number. I was just doing as many as I could with 25 pounds.
You were seeing progress, you just kept going. Basically.
Exactly, I was just seeing progress. And when you first start working out, you get newbie gains.
Yeah.
You saw your newbie gains, right? When you first start working out, you start seeing the...
And around this time, how old were you? Were you still 11 transitioning to 12?
Yeah, I was 11 transitioning to 12, and then I joined wrestling. And
was that your 6th grade year? Or was
that was my 6th grade year. I was 11, 12, my 6th grade year.
You joining wrestling changed a lot how I view life.
Man, joining wrestling was the best thing I could have ever done. Because then I really started training my mind, I was stronger than everybody else, though. I walked in stronger than everybody else. Because nobody was lifting as hard as I was lifting in 6th grade. And so I walked into 6th grade at 119, and I just literally destroyed everybody. So I got the varsity spot in 6th grade. But it wasn't even out of pure skill, it was simply out of pure strength. Just like, I was just muscling everybody. And we can get away with that like in middle school,
Yeah.
So essentially that's kind of what I started doing, and I got my first bench press after that. I started working out, and then one of my big influences was one of my friends. His name is Augustine Andrade.
I remember him. Yeah.
Man, this guy.
Was he your age? Was he older than you?
When I was in 6th grade, he was in 7th grade. So he showed up from Kenosha, and this guy was shredded, dude. This guy shows up and he has like literally an 8-pack in 7th grade. So like I finally met somebody that was just like me.
Big or bigger than you?
He was heavier than me. He was 155. I was 119. And he was shredded. This guy did football, literally every sport. He was just super athletic, right? I was like, damn, this guy's cool. This guy's just like me, We both like to work out. So we both just started working out together the entire summer, prepped for wrestling, and he helped me make me a better wrestler as well. So working out with him was obviously was super, super cool, man. So I got a bunch of gains from 119. The next year I went to 152, the wrestling weight class.
Jump. That's 40 pounds.
So that year, from 7th grade to 8th grade, is my very first bulk, right? And the way that I bulked. So Aggie and I were like, we would work out. We would practice wrestling on the concrete floor of the basement because we didn't have pads, you know.
Yeah.
So we would just after a certain amount of time,
you get used to
it, right?
Yeah, I know.
So man, right now if I hit my leg, it would absolutely hurt. But back then, like, you just get used to it, man. So we were savages, man. So we would finish training, and then we would immediately sit down at the kitchen table. We would grab the toaster, put it in the center of the table, grab a gallon of milk, put it right next to it, grab a loaf of bread, bam, a thing of peanut butter, a thing of jelly, and then we would just like toast bread. I'd get two, and then he'd get two, and we would just eat PB&Js. And so we would finish the whole gallon of milk in one sitting, the whole loaf of bread in one sitting. And that was our post-workout meal. We didn't have protein, we didn't have money for protein. And we didn't know how to eat, you know. But since you're young and you're so active, we were training for 2-3 hours, right? An hour and a half lifting, then we would run, then we would practice wrestling for another hour.
Yeah.
So we're training for like at least 2 to 3 hours every single day.
You're really harder than anyone your age would be training.
So that was okay to eat, you know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't get diabetes, but like, because we would eat in the same amount of jelly, you know. But
so once you got 152, were you still shredded, still ripped, or did you gain any body fat?
So once I did my first bulk, I absolutely gained body fat. So I lost my shreddedness from like 145. I was still kind of shredded and bald. Mine was like my curling style, my curling face. Once I went out to 155-ish, that's when I started kind of losing my abs. So that was, kind of whatever. But I started building more muscle mass and I started getting stronger. I started working out in the gym at my middle school, and I remember my.
Oh, you guys had a gym?
We had a gym, and I bench pressed 205 for my 8th grade year, weighing 155. And so my PE teacher, who's a bodybuilder, he was like, "Yo, like you have potential. Like let's work out every morning, you know." And so we would work out from the time that the bus would drop me off at school till the time class started. So we would hit like 20-30 minute workouts. And he would train me, so he would teach me how to do, you know, calf raises the right way. He taught me how to use the machines the right way. So like, there's Mr. Clausewitz. So he taught me how to do a lot of stuff. He was a competitive bodybuilder, and back in his day, and so he was a PE teacher, but you know, back during that time. And so like,
what school were you going to? Parkland?
This was Parkland Middle School. Yeah, so the guy was a stud, bro. If you saw him, he was impressive. He's still impressive to this day. Like if he was to, like, you know what I mean? If you were to look at him, you know. But yeah, so like I bench pressed 205, and so that was really impressive to him. So he started training me, started giving me a bunch of advice, how to eat, how to train, how many reps I should hit, what are supersets, what are drop sets. And so like I got most of my actual information from my PE teacher who. And
he just randomly. How did he see you like bench press that? Was that a class or was it like an after school thing?
We started. He was my PE teacher and he was like, "Do you lift? Like, what do you do?" I see that you.
No, I'm saying when you hit a 205. You hit a 205. You said there was a gym.
It was in the morning. He's like, "Hey, you know what? I work out every single morning at the school gym. The wrestlers would use it every now and then. The football players would use it. He's like, I work out in this like gym area that we barely use. Why don't you work out with me in the morning?" So
that's how it started.
So that's how I started. That's my first, like, when I actually started going to the gym. And then after that, I ended up getting a gym membership at Snap Fitness.
Snap Fitness, where's that located?
That's the area of fitness in McHenry now.
Oh, okay, by
meat and potato.
By the BB?
So I started working out there, and then that's when I really started going hard. And I reached the plateau at 155. So that's when I knew. So after like 3 years of training, I stayed at 155. So yes, I was 119 in 6th grade, 119 in 7th grade, and then 155 in 8th grade. And then that's really when I reached the plateau, and I wasn't able to gain any more weight. I wasn't gaining any more strength. So I was like, okay, I really got to start like researching stuff now. I have to be smarter. I was also in 8th grade now, about to be in high school, and now everybody was lifting back in high school. So I'm like, I really have to get in shape here now, because like there's gonna be guys in high school that are gonna be stronger than me, that are gonna be bigger than me. So like I have to start training smarter. So
do you think that you started like in your school? You said not many people started working out. Did they start working out because of you, or do you think you influenced anybody to start working out, or?
So when Aggie and I were training, we we would run around the neighborhood, and this is an apartment complex, so there was a bunch of kids that lived there. So there was a few kids that started training with us. Kevin started training with us. So every now and then I would train Kevin. We would run. I would literally train.
Is he your age too?
Kevin's 1 year younger than me. So I started training with Kevin. I started training with another buddy of mine. His name's Oscar. He was overweight. He was really, really, really overweight, and he was like always like really sad that he was overweight. You know, it was like a really depressing thing. He would get bullied for it, right? And so I never judged him for it. You know, I was always nice to him, and so I was like, you know what, like I'll train you, man. Like if you wanna like. If you want to get fit, I'll let we can work out together. So we would do laps around the neighborhood. I would started telling him a little bit how to start eating cleaner.
Yeah.
Which for me at that point was just chicken, rice, and carrots. was what I would eat for a while. So when my eating clean was chicken, rice, and carrots.
Surprisingly, that's not too expensive. Like it's not. I mean, maybe back then, I know we don't come with families that have that much money, but it's affordable.
Right. That was hard. Well, my mom did a pretty good job on like.
Your life situation.
Taking care of me in that way. Like, she's like, what do you need? I was like, I just need a bag of rice. She taught me how to make rice. I was like, give me some chicken. I would go to the store with her. I would get chicken patties. Okay. And then I would just cook the chicken patty on the pan and just break it apart. And then I would just eat the meat. Like that. So I would eat the meat. So I would have the meat. Carbs. Right. I would have the patty. I would have a little bit of rice. And then I would have like some sort of fruit on the side, veggie on the side. I mean. So yeah, I started eating like that. I was like 7th to 8th grade. So I just started doing the basic chicken and rice diet. I started learning a little bit about protein. One of the really good sources of information for me was. Have you ever read articles on simplyshorty.com?
I have not. No, I have not.
No. Yeah, so simplyshorty.com.
Bodybuilding.com, but not Simply Shorty.
Bodybuilding.com was a good website as well. So I started reading articles on that like in 8th grade, freshman year, and so that's when I really started to learn. Then I started to research on creatine. What is creatine? What is protein? How many grams of protein do you need? And that was obviously that was huge. So.
And then in high school, how did high school go with you for lifting? I know you hit a plateau. Do you get any heavier? Do you build any more strength? Or
well, believe it or not, so freshman year, I was on top of the world. So I felt like I came in freshman year weighing 160, like 160, 155. I was pretty strong, even though I did reach a plateau. I was bench pressing 225 to 5 as a freshman. Yeah, that's pretty good. My other lifts weren't that strong.
Like no kids older than like what? 200-pound kids for bench pressing that probably.
There wasn't a lot of kids, like seniors were hitting those weights, but and then like they were still like impressed. So like I just felt like I was on top of the world. So I was working out with seniors, you know. Like I was hitting their weight when I was hitting freshman strength class. When I was freshman, right? Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So I was always really strong. I've always been really strong in pushing movements.
One thing I know you didn't do football. Why did you not do football? You're a big guy going to school. You're 155 as a freshman. Like that never came. I know you worked out with Gil for those couple weeks. That never interested you, or?
Nah, I never got interested in football. I did soccer. I remember we did soccer. Freshman, sophomore, junior.
So yeah, this is where we left off. We're at freshman year. You're working out with the seniors.
Yes, so I started working out with a few seniors. I would stay after school, and I would lift after school. But yeah, by that point, I had a gym membership. I was running to the gym. I was obviously a freshman. My mom was working a few shifts a day. Yeah, she was never home.
How far was the run from the gym to your house, or your house to the gym? So at this point, were you still at the apartments here?
I was at the apartments up until like sophomore year of high school. So it was like a 30-40 minute jog.
Okay.
Still
a decent month.
Yeah.
Did you used to take these runs when it was raining and all that, or?
Yeah. I mean,
that's dedication, man.
I mean, my mom would pick me up sometimes, So, but like, I just had to get to the gym.
But still, like even a freshman or sophomore year, there's not many kids who are that dedicated,
Right, and I just caught the bug, And I would work out with Ivan, I would work out with Eric, and like they were just super into working out, and I just got the bug, and I just wanted to become like a better version of myself. So, 'cause I was skinny, and like even going back a little bit, like Like I used to get beat up by my brothers, you know. I would fight a girl all the time. He was bigger, he was stronger. So I get beat up, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I just wanted, like, it's almost like I had like a statement to prove, you know. It's like if I'm big enough, no one's gonna mess with me, you know. Yeah. So now I'm big enough. Now I'm strong enough. Now I can wrestle. And I just feel good about myself, you know. And so my confidence, like, was, you know,
you got boosted a lot. Yeah.
My confidence got boosted, and that was a
how did wrestling affect your life? I know you spoke a little bit about it, 7th grade, but
mental toughness. It taught me to not give up. So like, if there's one thing that I've learned is when you give up in life, and when you give up in life, or when you give up in anything, it starts to become easier. So it just becomes easier to give up. You give up today, tomorrow there's a small inconvenience. You give up again.
That is so true.
Right, then you have another inconvenience. It just becomes easier to walk away, ignore, like, and not push through, you know. And what wrestling taught me is you have to push through. One of the things that my coach would say was empty the gas tank. And I was already tired. We were running. We were hitting Indian runs or whatever, and we were running, and I couldn't do it anymore, right? And he knew that we were at that point where we were all tired. We were all
mentally exhausted,
physically exhausted. You would hit like a really intense cardio session after a really intense wrestling practice, and then he would say, empty the gas tank, empty the gas tank. And then he would make a sprint at the very, very, very end. And so, like, I would just give it all, you know. I would give it all, even though I knew that I knew that I was done. Before I started sprinting, I was like, I'm tired, like I'm ready for him to just stop this already. He would say, empty the gas tank. So I started sprinting. And I would get to the point where I would almost pass out. I'd throw up a few times, you know. You get to that point.
Yeah.
But once you get to that point where you push yourself past the point where you didn't think you were going to make it, it's really rewarding. You know, there's nothing more rewarding than achieving something that you almost thought it was impossible for you to achieve, right? And this in a lot of ways translates to, like, when you're hitting weights, right? When you're hitting weights, right, you're hitting that third set, you're hitting that fourth set, right? And you're trying to get to that 12, 15 rep, right? You're 3 workouts in, like 16 sets in, your arms are shaking, they burn, you're exhausted, and you have, 2, 3 more reps, because that's what you said you were going to do. You were going to do 3, you were going to do 4 sets of 12. Like, you have to get there, you know?
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to hold you accountable. You can stop and say, you know what, on my last set, I only did 8 reps. But, like, how are you going to feel about that, you know? Are you really going to be okay with that?
That's true, yeah.
You missed 5 reps on your last set. Just get there, you know? You have to, at the very least, get there. You cannot do this to yourself. And once you get there, you find that it's way more rewarding than giving up and saying, you know what, I'm done here at 8. Because you just have, like, bearing that pain, it gives you
a fighting mentality, bro.
It gives you a better.
And that translated to your life, like anything in life, like you don't give up. You have that.
Exactly. It started translating into really anything in life, into wrestling, right? You're in the 3rd period and you have 30 seconds left. You're both tired, but there's 30 seconds left.
It's a once
You have to go, you know? You can stop and then lose by points, or you can go past the point that you didn't think you were going to be able to go to.
Have you ever been in a wrestler that you were not supposed to beat? Like, they're technically better and I'll pace them, I'll cardio them?
I did, actually. So I beat an undefeated guy. This is like, what, 8th grade year. I think he was undefeated the whole year. Went to states. It was our last meet, right, of the year, or one of our last meets of the year. And so this guy was undefeated. He was a weight class above me. He was lanky. He was big. He was 167, 165, whatever weight class I had in that grade. And I was 152. And I got bumped up into that weight to wrestle that guy. We literally bumped our whole team up.
Yeah.
Because it was the best strategic thing to do.
Yeah.
And so I wrestled this guy, and I ended up beating him by like a few points. But yeah, that was, I guess, that was a good example of me just keeping going. Another good thing where that translates very well is when you're running, right? When you're running and your lungs are tired and your knees are hurting, right? And everything hurts, every single breath is hurting. you have 1 mile left to go, and you keep going, like it just feels good. You know,
you get that runner's high.
You get a runner's high.
You get a second gas tank, basically, essentially.
Exactly right. So yeah, I mean that's what we're saying. Like it just becomes easier. It becomes easier to continue to push yourself, right? So if you push yourself today, if you decide to not cheat yourself today, tomorrow it becomes easier to not cheat yourself. And eventually, you.
So this is coming from working out with a 25-pound dumbbell, like.
Exactly.
A really skinny kid. I'll try to get a picture of him when he was like younger. So he looks massive. How much are you weighing right now? Like
165.
165. How tall are you?
5'9".
5'9", 165.
5'9",
Like you work out like
11%, 12% body fat.
How many times a day? How many times a week do you work out right now?
So right now I'm coming from a long layoff.
You're a busy dude. You have a lot of things to do. So
life happens, right?
Yeah.
So fast forward a decade, right? Maybe 10 years. I continue to work out, and so like I'll stay consistent for a few years, a few months, but then life happens. You know, we all have busy lives. Something happens. You pick up on a new job, hobby. You get into a relationship. And then other stuff starts to take your time. Therefore, lifting, which was once my priority, starts to go down, And I'm not saying lifting should be your priority, but it should definitely be something. It's a lifestyle, It should definitely be something that you kind of like brushing your teeth,
Yeah.
You brush your teeth every single morning. You must eat healthy every single day, and you must do some sort of physical activity every single day. At the end of the day, you want to be healthy,
Yeah.
What was the question? Sorry.
Yeah, so like I was saying, like right now you're like 165. You're that like how many times do you work out during the week?
Right. So now that I'm starting to work out again, I started working out again in the summer. So I'm 5 months in again. So 5 months in. My consistency, I would say, I'm working out like 4 to 5 times a week.
Which is pretty good. Like, for a busy life, being an adult now, you're what, 22, about to be 23.
23. Yeah, so I'm working out about 4 to 5 times a week. But even when I'm not working out, I try to do some sort of physical activity.
Yeah.
Say that I'm working a double one day, right?
Yeah.
So I'm working a double. I'm gonna hit a few push-ups before I go to work.
That's another thing I want to get to you, because you look really good, bro. You look really good for only working out 3-4 times a week. How many hours do you work? Like how busy is your work?
It depends, but some of my busier days can be 12, 13
Wes,
hours.
no, you can't do that.
It's draining.
I mean, it can be draining,
But you're accustomed to
it makes it difficult to get enough meals in, get enough nutrients in. Makes it difficult to work out, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes like the most. You have to look at it efficiency, right?
Yeah.
What's going to be the most efficient thing you can do, right? And so sometimes the most efficient thing you can do
get in
is
trouble.
get the pull-up bar, get 3 sets, right? Because you only in order to maintain, you have to hit 1 hard set for that individual muscle, for that muscle to grow.
Yeah.
I mean not to grow, to maintain your muscle. So you can do that, right? But sometimes like I want to hit 4 sets of 15 pull-ups. Bam, 4 to 15 pull-ups is the workout, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you have a little bit more time, you can change the grip, right? 4 sets here, 4 sets here,
So
4 sets here. That's a whole that's a back workout right there.
The days like you're gonna hit a gym, you basically go back to your roots and you hit body workout.
You have to be efficient, It's leg day, right?
Yeah.
You only have dumbbells, so you don't have a home gym. You can't afford it, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Get yourself 25-pound dumbbells. Do lunges. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just kill.
Do 15 lunges on each leg. Do Bulgarian lunges, Bulgarian split squats.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
wall sits.
The wall sits, So long as you're working out that muscle, there's no reason why you shouldn't be either getting gains or feeling better about yourself. You just have to stay active. You just have to continue to do something to make you to push yourself, right? Whether it is mentally or whether it is physically.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Well, this is Ricardo Bautista. We'll be uploading the video of the workout that we hit today. It was a short workout because we got unfortunately kicked out.
Why did they close early, man? That's weird.
I don't know. I think they close at 6 on Sundays.
Right.
I don't really go to Edge, so I'm not too sure. But we definitely need to get another workout in. And I would definitely like to have a video with your friend Andy too. Like, he's getting ready for summer, he said.
He is getting ready. Maybe we can go right after the marathon.
Or before it, we can go through whatever he's doing to prep for running. I mean, it's not something that I've been doing. I have not been running. I don't know if you're running a lot or not. But it's a different aspect of working out. It is. Everything's fitness. Everything's fitness. CrossFit, powerlifting, bodybuilding, even wrestling. Like all these different things. They're in yoga. Like all of this it's fitness. Like within everything is fitness. Just you do something differently, you know. And that's what I wanted more of this channel to do. Like I'm really glad you were my first guest. Like because you played a huge influence in my life. You said you had your influence, your YouTubers. My influence was Ivan and you know.
Ivan and Eric.
Not really Eric. For me, my influence was you and Ivan. Like literally you and Ivan. Like I remember I started working out a little bit later. I was like what, freshman? But yeah, I mean definitely we need to get another workout in, man. It's always good working out with you. We have some really good workouts before. Especially I think I worked out more with you around after high school. After I graduated, we had like maybe 2-3 months. We were going pretty hard, but then life separated us. Like you go your own way, I got my own way. Like, 2 little girls now. It's very difficult, you know. But yeah, I'm glad. Every time I see you pushing, like every time I stop seeing you for a little, I see you again. You're a monster, man. Your brother Sonic, like
Sonic's got it.
There's another guy I want to get into the videos, but thank you so much again for being a part of this, sharing knowledge to people. I know it's small YouTube channels right now, but the message I want to give out right now is just to like, if you can do it, we started at a lightweight. He started working out at a really young age, 5th grade. I started really, like, I think I was an 8th grader. I was like 75 pounds, man. You're an 8th grader being 150 something. I'm 70 pounds. I used to look at you like you were the Hulk, man, you know? So like anybody can do it. I know I'm not the fittest, I'm not the biggest, but for anyone who's watching, if you get anything out of these videos, if you work hard, even if it's a little bit, if you're active every day, you can become him. You can become bigger than him. You can become stronger than him. You can be the best person, the best self you can be if you just put the work in, you know?
But yeah, at the end of the day, you have to figure out kind of what are your goals, and you have to make a plan on how you're gonna get there. And you have to follow through with that plan. Sometimes it's difficult, like it's difficult to diet to the dot, count your macros, or hit your 5-6 workouts a week at the gym. So sometimes it's okay to just kind of wing it, right? And one of the things that I really like to do is it's like I like being conscious of the food that I eat, right? So if I go to McDonald's, I'm not gonna eat a Big Mac with large fries with a McFlurry, right? I'm gonna be a little bit smarter about that, so I can still enjoy McDonald's, but I'm gonna have a double quarter pounder, get my protein in, and a large cup of water, right? So that's just being conscious of the things that you're eating, right? I don't want to eat a lot of fried food, I don't want to eat a lot of carbs, but I still want to enjoy McDonald's, right? And these are the things that you have to continue to do. For example, today we had protein pancakes, we just kind of winged it. We didn't have any groceries, really. I didn't have any protein to make myself a protein shake. We had one protein bar, we cut up the protein bar, put it in the blender. We had a little bit of almond milk, a little bit of regular milk. We mixed those two in there, a little bit of almond butter, a banana, and then some berries, and that was our shake, that was our meal. But that was just, you're just being conscious of what you eat, and you're just trying to make smart little choices here and there, and that plays a huge difference. That plays a big role in your health and in your fitness journey. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys.
But yeah, again, yes, if you guys are interested in any advice of how to work out or how to I'm gonna get more fit people in here, different aspects of working out, CrossFit, like I said, powerlifting, bodybuilding, wrestlers, fighters, as many people as I can get. And if you get any knowledge from this, like I said, just subscribe. You're gonna see different athletes, different people around the McHenry County area, and hopefully we can expand, get bigger, and just analyze how all these fit people or these people who are big, muscular, whatever athlete you see, just understand their mentality, how they started. Because everybody starts somewhere. Everybody starts in an area where you were not born like this,
Oh, absolutely.
But like I said again, thank you for having me, bro.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's always a great time working out with you. Even if I go months without talking to you, it's like we never stop talking,
Yeah, we just really catch up where we left off.
Yeah, but like I said, yeah. So don't forget to subscribe if you like this content, and see you guys in the next one.
See you guys.